Hello, everybody. My name is Truktruk, and welcome to the dump. Today's guest is Tag, also known as thatguyTagg. What's up, dude?
Hello.
How's it going?
It's a Thursday. I almost said Thursday morning. It is 3 p.m. It is not morning.
It
But
is
yeah.
a Thursday.
Yeah, it is a Thursday.
I know. I understand you've been busy, and I
yeah.
was surprised. You said you were gone for
Yeah.
like many days in a row. I'm like, hey, you want to do a podcast? You're like, yeah, when I get back. And I'm like, all right, well, how does Thursday or Sunday sound? Pick Thursday. And here we are, like the day after your busy shenanigans. I appreciate you coming on. But yeah.
Yeah, I've been a busy boy, but
Oh, yeah. Tag showed me some stuff. I don't know if he's going to unveil it on stream today, but if you like his stream, you're going to like it. He's got some stuff cooked up.
yeah, I might tease it a little bit on the stream, but yeah, I got a completely new set of things to play around with that people might like.
So, speaking of your stream, I guess we can get right into that. One of the biggest things, when I think of your stream, I think of your community, actually. That's the first thing I think of. And whenever I see someone that I've never seen before in my chat, but they throw a tag-o in chat. It's like, okay, this person's probably pretty nice. And I think that reflects upon you. How do you get to the point where pretty much everybody in your community is just nice to be around?
Honestly, it comes from it comes from kind of being a jerk. Not like malicious, but like I think a thing that a lot of streamers get wrong when they first start streaming is that they feel as though they need to bend over backwards for everybody. They need to be nice to everybody no matter what. And they can't, like get frustrated or upset, which isn't true, because that means that you're going to let your audience get away with anything they want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how, negativity like festers or anything like that. So you need to learn how to put your foot down and just pretty much just go like, I'm not playing these games. Like, you need to stop. You need to like stop this behavior.
It's so relieving hearing someone say that. Like, I don't know why I wasn't expecting that as like the response, but that's exactly like the worst part about that. I don't know if you feel about the same way, but whenever you put your foot down, whenever I put my foot down, I can't speak for you, I just feel like shit. But I know it's the right decision. Like, it's not fun to be like, please stop. Like, it's not nice to command people around. At least not for me. And it's for the greater good. And I feel like that's a big reason as to why your community is so nice. And to speak more on that, like, how did you develop your community? Because you've been streaming for a really long time. I believe you started with pretty much TF2 only, and then you got to the point where you're like, fuck this, variety streamer. And like, the best part about it is that not only did I've been watching your stream since like the very beginning. Not only did I enjoy your stream more, but it seems like you enjoy your stream more, if you could speak on that.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we both started with TF2. That's how we know each other. And I've always just like really liked video games. Because I know a lot of people that were super into TF2 were just like, oh yeah, I only like TF2. And I was never one of those people. Like, even when I was in TF2, I would still upload, other games to my YouTube channels. I started off with doing like the Two Idiots plays with Disengage, where we would play co-op games like Half-Life and stuff. And it was a hot mess. In a good way and in a bad way. But yeah, TF2 became it's weird because I love TF2. That's the thing. Like, I love TF2. I think that game is amazing. There's still like every day I'm just like, what if I played some TF2? But it got to a point where people like the TF2 community is just overwhelming. That's like the best way I can put it. It's overwhelming. It's like it can be crushing at times. And it just kind of sucked away all of the enjoyment that I had of it. Because, whenever I'd stream TF2, there'd be, like just random people in the chat. Not even like, regular viewers. Just
it
random
didn't feel
people.
like your stream anymore, right?
Exactly. It felt like a playground for other people. where, you know, they could just like, oh, you know, what's the latest gossip? You know, what do you think about, you know, like this latest thing that happened? Or, you know, people are always trying to bait you into saying something about someone else. And I'm just like, I just want to play the game, you know, I just want to play video game. I'm just here to play video games. That, you know, that's just so much. I'm sure you're familiar with it as well. And, you know, people are just like always trying to start arguments about like how Valve is lazy, how the balance of the game is terrible, how, you know, Highlander is the best thing and everything like that. And I noticed that my chat would just always end up just becoming like a sledge pool of just
talking in a circle every single day about 4 different topics plus the random drama that's happening, which neither of us are prone to giving a shit about drama because, you know, it's when you get to a certain age, you realize it's not very good for your mental health. But I think, I don't know if that specifically has to do with TF2. I just think that comes with playing one game.
Exactly.
You just get caught up in the community rather than like your own stream. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I agree with you 100% because, you know, anywhere that you go, you can get people that say TF2 community's toxic or Overwatch community's toxic, you know, Smash community's toxic. Like everybody's always saying that everywhere, and it's just people suck. And people can suck, and since it's the internet and nobody, you know, wants to put their foot down, that stuff gets rampant and going crazy and everything like that. The thing about TF2 was that there's just so many children. I don't know how this, you know, like you get people, can you show me your loadouts, please? Every 5 minutes. And it's like I don't care.
No, people are posting trade links in chat. People are asking you to do, when is the giveaway? I remember the giveaway era of streaming, not even just TF2. Twitch was a giveaway website at one point, like 3 years ago. That's what Twitch was.
Everybody
when CSGO
was
dominated.
doing giveaways. That is a good point. That's a good point. That nobody's really doing giveaways anymore because
I think that's good.
It's good. I agree with you because it's not a good way to give back to your community. It's a way to get people to watch your stream. And I found out when I started doing giveaways in TF2 that people that I've never seen in my entire life would just show up and be like, "Where's my hat?" and then would leave. And it's like, well, I feel like I'm getting ripped off here, honestly. And, you know, I'm going through all of this, you know, effort and everything like that, and people are just shitting on you the entire time. Like, excuse my language, but like, I would sign weapons for people because
then they would sell them, right?
Yeah, because. I mean, maybe everybody here knows, but like, I played competitive TF2 at like the highest level for a while. So people like wanted my autograph on their weapons, and I would sign them, and it was a huge like. You think it's easy, but it's Steam trading. So like trading the items back and forth could take up to 15 minutes a person, and I would do 6-hour streams just signing weapons, for like $5 because I was stupid. And then people would turn around and sell them on the market for $20 and stuff. And people would just be extremely demanding and be like, you know, they would expect me to sign their weapon with like, you needed a certain item to sign the weapon and you had to pay for it. And people expected me to pay for the item to sign their weapon. And then people would like slide into my DMs and be like, sign my weapon. And I'd be like, okay. And then they said, not now, later. And I'm just losing my mind. I thought like I was convinced that maybe I was crazy. And so I copied the logs, like the chat logs I have of people onto a text file, and it's called dumb.txt, and I still have it. I still look back on it to this day.
And you know what? It's funny to look back on, but like while it's all happening, it just festers a really negative mindset. Like I don't think either of us are negative people, but when you're around that stuff, even if you disagree with it, which we pretty much both have the whole time, it still like festers and becomes kind of, at least for me, kind of became part of my personality of just very negative, very abrupt. And it's just like something needs to change. Like at what point were you like, I need to make a change? Like this is not how I want to run my stream.
I think it was around when it was when I don't want to get too topical.
Oh, okay. I think I know.
Yeah,
But yeah.
It was around when a certain thing happened at the beginning of the year where a certain person was elected to a certain position in the country, and I was like, fuck this shit, like just like like for the longest time, I was always trying to be, like, please every single person in my chat, and to the point where I would stop having fun so that other people could have fun in my chat. And fun in the chat can just be absolute chaos.
I want to put something down here. I know you might elaborate onto this, but I want to make sure this is said. Like, the people in chat are not the people that are watching your stream. Like, they're not everyone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I completely agree with that sentiment. Like, if people are spamming your chat with like stupid stuff, you don't have to act like a monkey because they're just being an idiot. They're being idiots, you know what I mean? There's so many people that love everyone's streams, and most of them just say hello and goodbye and stuff.
Yeah.
They just lurk the stream while they do work or whatever. And appealing to those people is like kind of my goal, or at least reflecting myself upon the internet. And I apologize for interrupting, but
no, it's fine.
The lurkers are, it's for people that stream, it's so important that even if you only have 2 viewers and one of them's being a moron, there's still that other person. Like, you don't have to appease the person that you don't like. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. And it's how I've switched my viewer base around pretty much, is that I stopped paying attention to the people that were the loudest, and I started weeding those people out, because the way that lurking works sort of is that, like, people are nervous some people are nervous to speak in a chat because they feel as though they don't resonate with the people that are the loudest. And when I was like plucking out the troublemakers, people that were lurking and people that were like actual longtime viewers started feeling more comfortable with the chat, and they felt more comfortable like starting to talk to each other and everything like that. And that's how you pluck the weeds out and the flowers start growing, Kurt.
Mm-hmm. Because there's a place for everybody. Like, the people that like to do silly nonsense stuff, like, there's a lot of places on Twitch for that. Like, you don't have to have it on your own stream. And I guess we could further, like, what are some other like broad benefits of variety streaming, you would say?
You get to just do what you want to do, right? You don't have to play, because there's some days where I don't, where I didn't want to play TF2, and I would just be like, well, I can't play anything else because people would get upset, and people would be like, where's TF2? There's still people that come into my chat and go to my YouTube channel and say, where's TF2? And I'm like, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for me. Sorry. Like, it's gotten to the point where, once again, you have to start looking at things at a different perspective. You cannot bend over backwards for your viewers, because at a certain point in time, you're going to be doing things that you don't want to do. And no matter what, that's going to get to you. That's going to, like, you're not going to be happy. So, I just, you just got to stand up for yourself. And I stood up for myself, and I was like, listen, I'm going to play the games that I like to play. And if you're not happy with that, that sounds like your problem, not mine.
And the beauty in all of that is that I feel like it propelled your stream to like the next level. Like, your stream was doing good, and now it's like a career. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty amazing. And even beyond that, like, you have a community that you like. Like,
yeah, exactly.
We both have communities that we like. And I've talked to a lot of streamers in private, and most of which are not necessarily my friends. They hate their communities. They're very successful.
Oh, yeah.
They hate their communities, but they're doing what you just said. They're doing the one game. They're doing the one genre of game and appealing to their viewers. That's a good way to like get viewers. But in order to be satisfied and happy with your own content and actually have some sort of longevity in this kind of lane, you have to do that. You have to mix it up and appeal to your own interests, and that's it.
And I got, I lost sight of that for a long time. because when I first started my YouTube channel, I didn't start it out to be, famous and everything like that. And I think a lot of people also get that wrong these days, where they see, like Ninja or anything like that. They see popular streamers just like, oh, I want to be popular. Like, that's not how it works. What you should strive for is having fun and making, like, if you're having a good time, people will come. Like some people can put on personas and everything like that. I cannot do that. And so I started off my YouTube channel just being like a little place where I could just put my own like memories of like funny moments that I had in games. That like I can actually I remember the exact moment where I wanted to, do something like YouTube, where I was playing Halo PC back when I was a kid. I was a tiny, small child playing on my mom's Dell Inspiron computer, something like that, like laying on the floor. Because somehow when you're a kid, you can just do that. You can just lay on the floor and play games.
Yeah.
And I was on Blood Gulch, and I had a rocket launcher, and there was an enemy warthog driving across the field, and I lined up the shot like I pre-fired like a full, like it was probably like a 5-second pre-fire of the rocket just like flying through the map, and it hit the warthog straight on the side, and I killed both of them. And I was like, holy shit, no one's ever going to believe that happened. And I was like, I have to find a way that like next time that happens, I have something that I can show people. So then I started installing fraps and stuff and everything like that. And then I started uploading, the moments to YouTube. And then people were like, oh, yo, this is sick. Or like, oh yeah, this is crazy. This is funny. And that's how I started my YouTube channel. And when TF2 started being a big thing and I started playing TF2 competitively, it got a little, I forgot, why I started doing it in the first place. And I started making content for, like what would people want to see rather than, what I am enjoying and doing. And that kind of like, I had like a huge like bummer phase for a while.
How do you feel about that content in regards to quality? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's, despite it not being necessarily the content that you are a fan of, essentially like whatever game it is, do you still think it's as good as your other content, or do you think it's worse? Because personally, whenever I make content that I want to do well, like that's the goal. I want it to do well. It's not good. Even if it does well, I'm still not really happy with it. But if you have a goal in mind, like an idea that's like fun and you make it, that's the best kind of content. And I'm wondering how you feel about that.
Yeah, there is like a handful. I don't do it that often because if I don't want to do something, I just kind of don't do it. Sometimes I force myself to do things, specifically like video editing, because it takes such a long time. I rarely put out a video that I don't like, but in terms of streaming, I would stream games that I didn't like, and I would try to force my way through it. I kind of like realized that I was getting desperate when Overwatch came around, and I was like bending over backwards to try to get into the closed beta, and I was like, this is my ticket to being like a big streamer, and this is like my ticket to be like a big, blah 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 player, and the game just sucked. It was just
it's hard for me to judge Overwatch because I went into it being like, this is TF2 3 or TF2 3. Yes.
Yeah,
and it's not. It's pretty much like
not.
League of Legends and like TF2 combined.
Yeah, and
it's not something I enjoy.
Yeah, you just spend the entire time shooting at shields, and I was trying to force myself to like the game and to not be negative, and to like I was trying to force myself to play the game and enjoy it when I actually didn't, and I was like, hold on, I'm not happy right now. What's going on here? I wonder why. But you can get so caught up in it that obvious things just aren't obvious anymore.
It took me like 2+ years to figure out like I wasn't enjoying streaming TF2 anymore. Yeah. Like again, I have to restate. I love TF2. It is such a good game. I love that game. Like holy shit, the game is good. But when you do one thing for like 4 years straight, it is awful. Like it is not fun to play anymore or stream because of that. It's not because it's a bad game. It's just because you do it for so long. And like and then when you transfer to something else that's kind of in the same category, it's like I liked it initially, and now I'm doing it because I feel like I have to.
Yeah.
It's just awful. And I guess the logical step from TF2 was Overwatch. And at first I'm like, oh, great, let's do this. And it didn't even last me a week.
Yeah, I tried to play it for, I think, almost a year before I realized that, like, I before I remembered why I started streaming and why I did YouTube in the first place. And then that's when I moved to Variety. And then, yeah, that's where, a lot of changes started happening. And the thing about it, like, we keep going back to TF2, but like
it is our roots. Like
it's our roots.
I always make it a point to like respect TF2 because I have a lot of bitterness towards TF2, but it is the start. It is the starting point. You can't throw away your starting point. You know?
And I love TF2 as well, but like it got to the point, once again, same with you, that because like the fun thing about streaming for me is playing the game and hanging out with chat and seeing what chat has to say and interacting with them and having conversations with them or making jokes with them. But TF2, it was just a stagnant pool of butt crack ass where you would be playing the game and I'd look over at chat and you'd just be like, you want to talk to somebody, and it's just mindless dribble in the chat, and you're just like, I would get to the point where I would just let out a sigh and I get disappointed because it was such a bummer.
I feel like history repeats itself, or at least when it comes to like competitive games, because I see that in Overwatch and I've seen that in Overwatch and I've seen that in the Fortnite community, is that people are just complaining about devs, people are complaining about items and stuff. It's like, I just want to talk about food, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I just want to sit here and just like run my face into a wall while I surf and just talk about food, Like that's what I want to do today.
Yeah, like
I don't want to yell into the void for the millionth time,
And speaking on that, I think it was either you or Mela that I took this play from, is that whenever your chat is just out of control and talking about something that's just like that you just think is like really stupid, or whenever you feel like you don't have control over your chat anymore and they're just running rampant, this is the way that you always get them back in line. You ask them, "What'd you have for breakfast today?" And then just like that, they just snap back in line and conversations start happening again.
It's the best part about those types of conversations, like even if it's something as simple as food, is that you get to like know your audience more than just a video game. And it makes it like obvious you can't necessarily be friends with your viewers until you like interact with them like directly, but you feel like you're more acquainted. Like if you met in person, you get along better rather than like, hey, let's hang out at LAN and talk about the video game. It's like, hey, I know you like this, this, and this. Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Like you get to know. It's a much more real relationship that you have with these, like, people start acting like human beings more than chatbots, I guess. Like, I don't even know like how to explain it. Like sometimes chat can just feel like it's an entirely completely different entity rather than you're talking to a bunch of people. And
it's the biggest reason why I'm very bitter towards that's why I try to direct my bitterness towards like competitive video games more than TF2, because I feel like once you start taking a game too seriously, the fun just goes away like almost immediately, and it's just a never-ending stream of negativity. And I feel like a lot of people that are like heavily invested in competitive stuff, even if they're the nicest people in the world, while they're in that area, they turn as toxic as they can be. And it's just an awful place to be. And I love variety streaming because you get the personal benefits. You get to have do fun. What you want. You get to talk to people that, even if you have nothing in common, you can have a conversation, learn from other people, and just have a good time and get something out of it rather than just playing a game and getting better at a game. Because that's not, at the end of the day, that is not important for 99% of people. Like if you're playing a game competitively, you're very unlikely to make anything out of it. But if you talk to a lot of people and get a lot of insight and a lot of different perspectives, like you grow as a person, you develop more understanding of like how people see things, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
And just general interests that might be interesting to you as well.
Yeah.
And speaking of variety streaming, we're kind of shitting on like you kind of spent like the last 25 minutes just shitting on like playing one game, and I'm all for that. If you're a streamer and you are not having fun and you find yourself playing one game, try something.
Yeah.
Try and fail. You will fail. Like you're gonna try something new. It's gonna suck. You won't have any fun. Try something else. Eventually something will stick, and you'll find like different pathways to enjoyment. Other than that, what are the biggest difficulties of variety streaming, you'd say?
The biggest difficulties of variety streaming, it's a pretty large one, where since you're always swapping games, it's really hard to grow your viewer base. It's hard to get newer viewers, because like if you're playing one game all the time, people that really like that game always know that you're there. And so you slowly start accumulating people because they know what to expect. Variety streaming is pretty difficult because you're always hopping, back and forth between things. And instead of people, being, it's harder to get, those search views, because if you're playing one game, people that search that game will probably see you, if you've been playing the game long enough. And that's like your name is anchored down on something, rather than, jumping ship, constantly and trying to have people, like chase you down or like that. I'd say that that's the biggest issue, or the biggest hurdle with variety streaming, is that it's hard to really grow your viewer base if you're a variety streamer. Yeah.
So on that, how do you feel about having a core game? Because that's kind of that's kind of how I run my stream. I surf. That's like my core game, like 2-3 days a week, and then the other 2 or 3 days I do whatever, and I quite like it. But how do you feel about that? Like, is that a good pathway in your opinion?
I think it is. Like, once again, like having an anchor isn't a bad thing. It's just it's hard to balance, because I honestly, like, I wish that I could sort of have my TF2 as like I return to port once in a while, after like driving around in my boat and visiting different aisles of games. But I'm always reminded that like if I go back to TF2, if I do a stream of TF2, all hell will break loose. Like,
how do you in what way though? Like, because I have plans to play the heavy update whenever it comes out, and I have no problems with playing it like once. I feel like I'll get some of the bad parts, but the core of my stream will be there and everything will be okay. But in what way do you think it's gonna, for what reason are you afraid to do it?
Because I just know for a fact that, I'm gonna get those people that come back that are only there to watch me play TF2, and they're gonna be like, Tech's finally playing TF2 again. And because I've done it before when the jungle update came out, and I played the jungle update for a few days. Instantly everybody was just like, I thought you quit TF2, or I thought you hated TF2, or and then people would be like, are you still friends with Banny? How come you don't play with Star anymore? Can I see your inventory? And then when I switched back to doing variety, people were like, why do you hate TF2? When are you gonna play TF2 again? And it's just a bummer. It's just like the flies just come back real quickly and start buzzing around
sucks. Again. It does kind of suck.
And so something that I did do like a few times is that I did do TF2 streams, but I would do it not in the directory of TF2. I would just
really
I would just find some random game I've
never seen one of those. This must have been nice. This must have been real nice.
Yeah, and I just do like a stealth stream of TF2 where I I go in the Bad Rats directory or something like that, and I start streaming TF2 so that only people that are there, I don't get those.
Yeah, the
overzealous
thing is,
people.
The thing is, like, we kind of mentioned this earlier, is that you have the people that are being annoying, but then you have like the lurkers. They're like, hey, this guy's kind of cool. And then I'm sure those guys from those TF2 streams that you hated, you've probably gotten a couple people that you really liked out of those. um, it sucks because the dichotomy is just difficult to balance between like, do I want to have a headache today and tomorrow and the next day and, you know, get some new viewers that are awesome, or do I just want to just cruise along and have a good time, but worry about my stream kind of stagnating? And I mean, streaming is unbelievably stressful as far as like viewership, subscriber, like it's the most volatile way you could make money right now.
It's a numbers game, and it's you can get caught up on those numbers and it can get very soul crushing very quickly.
I don't look at my viewer count. I look at my viewers and my subs every day, but after the stream. I don't want to know while it's happening because I'm gonna freak out.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something I started doing too. Like Twitch has an option where you can hide your viewer count when you're streaming, and it made streaming like way less stressful for me because you know, you don't glance over at your viewer count, you know, every like 5 minutes and be like, oh my god, like how do I
I'm not being entertaining anymore?
Yeah,
what's going on?
You know, like it can be. Streaming's hard.
Yeah, that's actually something. That's a question I have written down here. Like, so what are some misconceptions you think people have about streaming? Like the main one. There's probably a ton, but what's like the biggest one you think?
I feel like people don't really understand that it's something that you can get better at. It's something that you can learn to do better and like get, you know, get a skill set in, because I'm sure that like if you went back in time and you watched a stream from, you know, 2 years ago, you'd be like, wow, how do people watch this? It's something that, you know, you learn what to say, how to deal with certain situations, you know, how to deal with like dead air, or, you know, you just get used to, you're an entertainer, and you can get better and better at it. And you learn from your mistakes, like you said before, from trying different things, and you know what you can get away with. Like one of the things that I learned is that you don't have to put on this, you know, this crazy high production show every like day. You don't need all these fancy stream graphics or anything like that. People don't really care if your stuff is super nice and neat. I started changing like my stream started screen to Comic Sans, and you know, like nobody's gonna be like, this guy's, you know, like doesn't have a custom made overlay. It's like, that's, you know, that's people like, just be yourself. You know, people like individuality, and I don't know.
People like content. Like
exactly,
people like you and what you like. At least the people that matter, you know.
Yeah, and you and what you like is completely unique, and that's why people are there.
And I'm surprised because I feel like most people say something along the lines of, it's hard. I mean, and it is hard. It's a very new medium in which you have to do a lot of work outside of actual streaming in order to be.
And you're doing it all by yourself. And when I think the thing that's the hardest that people do, it's because it's so hard to explain, you know, why is streaming hard. But it's one of the things is that there's no set path. You know, you have to figure out everything yourself, and you'll, you know, what is your goal? What are you working towards? You have to set that all by yourself. And it can be difficult. You're maintaining your own ship, and you're steering it, and you know, are dealing with hundreds of people on the ship as well. And it's sort of like it's driving like a giant cruise ship through a fog, where sometimes you know where you're going and sometimes you don't, and that can be stressful and difficult. It's hard.
And not to mention, like, everybody has bad days and good days, and like, when you are streaming, everybody sees your bad days. Like everybody sees your worst moments, and it's not a good feeling. Like, it makes it a lot worse. And it's difficult. It's very high pressure, but it's also extremely fulfilling, which is why I personally do it. I don't know. I can't speak for you, but making your own content and being responsible for how well you're doing is unbelievably fulfilling.
Yeah. Because I did that. Smile.
Yeah, like it's not like you work for this big ass company just like playing with emails all day. Like, you are making your show. It's a show. It's you.
Yeah.
And everything is you. Like even your community. Like there's been a big Twitch discussion, like with drama or whatever, like how big streamers, how their communities reflect them, and a lot of people are like playing, no, I have no control of it, and like other streamers like Moon are like, hey, I have a ton of viewers and my stream community is awesome. Like I control it. I put my foot down. You guys need to like ramp up your moderation and stuff. And I feel like people like him get a lot more out of their stream because it's reflective of him. And and I think the more people like that follow that path, the better Twitch is as a whole. Because when bigger streamers put their foots down, it has a trickle down effect. There's less people that think being toxic and annoying is funny.
Yeah.
You know, you can be funny, just don't be an edgy person just saying inappropriate stuff, one-liners that you just see everywhere. It's something I absolutely hate on Twitch, and I'm very happy that this kind of discussion has been brought up multiple times within the past few months.
Yeah, it's kind of weird and frustrating because, you know, like for some reason these huge streamers, for some reason, you know, I saw a Twitter post about this that puts it in like the perfect just like short blurb, is that like these people call themselves influencers, but and then they feel as though they don't have an influence over their chat's actions, and that doesn't make any sense. Like no
one's gonna watch you if they don't like you. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah, and like I just don't understand at a fundamental level how so many people are making this argument of, you know, like, oh, you know, I don't influence, you know, my chat or anything like that. You know, people aren't doing this because they watch me. It's like that is inherent, and like when you're hanging out with your friends, you pick up their mannerisms, you pick up, you know, their sayings or how they talk. Like that's just a human thing. That's just like a thing that's built into, you know, like human brains, and it's a social thing. You know, like I'll break out the yeah whatever. Yeah, because you know we hang out with Mela.
That came from Tip of the Hats.
Exactly.
Right?
Like it's and these like really big time streamers that are just like, oh yeah, no, that's fake. You know, I have no influence over my viewers, and they just say like the wildest things and they feel as though they have with no consequences. They feel as though they
don't
no
really have much
responsibility.
consequences other than
And
having a terrible community. But
I'm tired of people not taking responsibility over their, you know, like saying like yeah.
You don't even want her to say what people say. Like the worst part about it is that it's all of the stuff that's inappropriate is extremely like surface level humor, like lower than that. It's not interesting at all. It's just kind of annoying to look at.
It's just shallow.
It's offensive and shallow. It's not even when it's not offensive, it's just super shallow, and I don't like that part about Twitch. And I'm happy that you are able to grow on Twitch without having that anymore. I feel like at least within the past year, Twitch has kind of matured as like a general audience towards like, yes, it is normal for a streamer to be pissed at me if I'm being an idiot. You know what I mean? Like rather than you should just be a human punching bag today. You know, it's quite nice, and I'm happy that things are moving forward. And I'm happy that all of my peers and pretty much everybody that I am surrounded by kind of have that mindset. Like even people that watch Tip of the Hats, like that entire show is reflective of just being funny, but also appropriate and clever and interesting and variety. And when you see people are like, hey, I saw you from Tip of the Hats, 100% of the time, they're just a normal person that just wants to have a good time.
Exactly.
And those people are the best. And
and you know, like for people that, you know, obviously people won't know, but you know, every single time Tip of the Hats happens, you know, Lang gives this big speech, and it's just like, like you do not need these, like don't do this, like, you know, vulgar stuff, like don't make these kind of jokes, they're not funny. He'll just straight up say like, they're not funny, we don't use these here, and we don't need them. And it's true, we don't need them. We always put on like an amazing show. But one thing I keep forgetting to say is that I've found that, you know, as you stream longer, and you know, as you get more experience and you get better at it, you learn, you know, who's a bad egg, just like from a few like noticeable, like I'm sure that like you've noticed a pattern in some viewers, or like troublemakers and stuff. And I've learned that if somebody is acting up, you'll give them a warning. Depending on how they react to that warning, immediately is if it's somebody that you need to ban or somebody that is worth keeping around. Some people will put a kappa in, or like
that's 2000 like 15 level stuff.
Yeah, and it's like oh yeah, I know who you are.
The thing I want to mention is something that I want to improve on as a streamer is that there could be like one bad apple, and sometimes I focus on it instead of being like I miss like 3 messages that are just like interesting, like topical, whatever. And I'm just like pissed off at this one moron instead of just ignoring it. And I think when you are trying to develop like a nice community, or at least a community that reflects you and what you like, it's important to acknowledge the people that you enjoy more. But it is so like, I want you to talk on this. Like, how hard is it to like ignore dumbass comments? Like,
it is so hard.
I really wish like I had the mental fortitude to just like ignore all of it and just be like focused on like the nice people. Cause there's so many nice people out there. And I swear I probably miss at least a good 20% of like comments that are just like really engaging and interesting that could spark a great discussion. And I'm just sitting there talking to like some guy that's just trolling me.
Like Pablo swore is like 89 or something like that. There's I feel the same way, and it's something that's so rewarding is that I've seen so many like people that are like feel the exact same, like it's like there's so many like posts that I've seen like on Twitter that people retweet. It's just like when you have that one person in your Twitch chat that you hate, but they just never cross, like you hope that they cross the line so you can ban them. So like what I do, and it's true, like it bothers me as well, and it can get distracting, and it can get me in it could be a mood ruining thing. And so usually what I do is that instead of ignoring them, I'll like read their message and go like, okay, I'll just go like, okay. Or
like I feel like we're being so negative towards like the entire Twitch audience, but like
we're not. But
it's like, kind of like it's. I hope it comes off as like easy to empathize with and understand, because like neither of us hate everyone. Like it's a very small amount of people that really grind your gears. Like it's for person to person. Some people don't like certain things, whatever. But it's so hard to ignore after a while, because
and one of the things that's really important to understand is that it's not possible to ignore, and it's okay to be frustrated, because once again, that's back when I was first starting streaming. I thought I had to bend over backwards for everybody and be nice all the time, but just acknowledging the fact that like you can get frustrated, you can get annoyed at things, because like lying to yourself will just make yourself more frustrated. And just being like completely open and just accepting of the fact, just like this person's annoying me, is way more helpful. And I think that helps a lot in dealing with bad eggs in the chat. Usually what I do is that I acknowledge them, and then I don't get in an argue with them, but I am clear that I am dismissive of them.
Yeah.
I'll give them their attention, but I won't egg it on. I'll be like, okay, that's interesting, I guess. And then I'll move on to a person that I know, like I'll move on to the top message and I'll talk to them. So
that's the primary thing. Like, I know we were kind of like shitting on the bad eggs, but like you don't really have much of an outlet to do it. Like, this is a good place to do it.
Yeah.
And but it is important to like acknowledge the people that you like, because again, the way I've like internalized it a few times, like I don't know how you feel, but like whenever I have to ban someone, especially people that are like treading on the edge of being like okay, but they're just to the point where it's just like, come on, you just don't get it. Like that sucks. Like I don't want to get rid of them, but for like my mental stability and for the sake of the chat, I have to. But at the same time, like I need to make it swift and quick, or not do it at all, because there are those lurkers, the people that really care about your stream. Like, I don't want to subject them to my frustration, because it's just not fun to listen to. People come and watch your stream for fun. Like, I don't want people coming to my stream to watch me yell at people. You know,
rage streamer.
Yeah, I don't want to be a rage streamer. Yeah, I guess we could move to another topic, and we mentioned a little bit. So, tip of the hats. So what is that, and how did you get involved?
Man, how did I get involved in tip of? It feels like it's been going on for a decade, but you've been doing it way longer than I have.
Yeah, I don't know when you got involved. I genuinely don't know. Like, you just kind of like you. The thing is with everybody at Tip of the Hats is like everybody that's worked on Tip of the Hats just blends in so nicely. Like, everybody fits in so nicely. It's hard to tell like when they joined. You know?
Yeah.
Because it's Tip of the Hats has grown very steadily, and it's because of the additions. You know?
Every single time I get reminded that Tip of the Hats started off like in. Was it your room?
I was just sitting in my room in my mom's house, just sitting there streaming for 36 hours straight.
Yeah.
Next year, Lang came over and Wyatt came over, and we had a mini LAN, and then after that,
that always blows my mind.
Chicago one.
Yeah, to get, because that's when I started getting involved. Was the Chicago one, because that's when Alex and I started being roommates, and you know, I was helping out setup and, you know, talent and stuff, and yeah, that one went really well.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how much one, right?
I don't know how much we could talk about Tip of the Hats on here, but the Ignite one went really well.
I mean, we could talk about Tip of the Hats. I would love to have like a Tip of the Hats podcast, because there are so many stories that are. I think they're appropriate.
Yeah.
I mean, they are appropriate, but they're just like. I want to save that for later. There's a lot of things regarding Tip of the Hats that are extremely interesting, and you learn a lot about your friends. You learn even more about them, like as far as working with them, and you develop as a person. Like, for example, like, I don't want to go into major detail, but last Tip of the Hats, I'm sure none of you guys on stream realized it, but I personally felt like I was a detriment to the entire stream afterwards, because of like this, and this. And it helps you develop as a person, because you reflect upon it. It's like, man, I just really let down my friends in many different ways. And it's such an awesome experience, because it helps you grow as a person when you're surrounded by and working with people that you care about in a project that you really care about.
I'm sorry, I glanced at chat and somebody said, "Remember Seabear." Forgot Seabear's just vanished.
Yeah, Seabear disappeared.
Yeah, and I feel the same way. The Tip of the Hats that we had at the hotel, I felt as though like I was just bombing it. Like I honestly like lost my temper on camera, and I felt really bad after that one. And like nobody really said anything about it, but I knew that like I knew what to expect, and I knew how to like, you know, change myself for the better. And then the next Tip of the Hats went way smoother, and then this one, like this most recent Tip of the Hats is really weird, because
man,
there's so much stuff happened, because on all regards it is the best show we've put on at Tip of the Hats. Like we knocked that show out of the park, but everything behind the scenes,
I think everyone left unhappy.
Fire.
Like, yeah. It was the best. The silver lining about that, we're not going to go into detail. Maybe we'll go into detail like why everybody was like so upset after it. It mostly just had to do with like just being stressed out to the max, and just but the best part about going through something like that is because the next one and the ones after that, we will never have the same problems.
Yes.
We are like restructuring certain ways of doing things to allow everyone to perform and also not be stressed out.
Exactly.
And it is amazing how Tip of the Hats has evolved, and it's cool how our streams and our audiences, as they grow in different directions, they always come together for Tip of the Hats. Like the more people we get as well.
I love seeing, you know, I love seeing people from my chat show up in the donation Tip of the Hat. That is my favorite thing that I love to see, is seeing, you know, my chat viewers show up in Tip of the Hats. It's great. It's such a great feeling seeing them.
And I learned how to import a 36-hour, or not 36-hour, I think it was like 400 gigabyte file into Premiere and make it work. So that was fun. That was something I learned at Tip of the Hats.
Wait, when did you do
I
that?
cut up the VODs for Tip of the Hats for last year.
Jesus.
And,
yeah,
that was a little difficult.
You did it really quickly though. That's not easy to do.
Kind of.
No,
I was like freaking out on Slack for a while, but I got some help and I figured it out. But yeah, it's cool. And I think that relates to content creation as well, because last Tip of the Hats was kind of like my breaking point. I talked to pretty much everybody. You, Racefire, Star, Mela, everybody that was like a content creator there. And we were just talking, we had like a similar discussion about TF2, like we like it, but we're just frustrated with the game. And I'm like, man, I'm like the only one here that's like a dedicated TF2 streamer. I'm absolutely miserable. When I got home from Tip of the Hats, it's just like, I got to change things up. I think like the first stream I did was like a GTA stream that was inspired by a video that we watched after Tip of the Hats.
Carmageddon, right?
I think that's what I did. I'm like, this is fun. Let's do more of it. And it's cool to be in a spot where we all have the opportunity to like collab our ideas and grow from it, because every single Tip of the Hats, I think we all get something out from it that we can put towards our own content. If that's the case, is there any things that you got from Tip of the Hats that affected your content?
I'm not sure. I feel like my content, you know, what I've learned from making my own videos and my streaming goes, you know, into Tip of the Hats, because I feel like all the experience that we have of streaming, you know, day after day and making videos is what makes Tip of the Hats so great. Because, you know, like I said before, last Tip of the Hats, we fucking killed it. Like, we put on such a great show, and that's because of our experience of streaming. Like it's you know, it's something that people like look at and is just like, oh, you know, I can do easy, but it's not. We like every single year we get better at this, and that is literally shown in how well we did at last Tip of the Hats. Because once again, on camera we fucking killed it. Off camera, everything was hell. Everything was on fire at all times.
It's like not even funny. Honestly, like it's funny in the sense that it's so dramatic, but like. Yeah, it wasn't good.
Yeah. But it's a thing. But it's a thing that I feel as though like we shouldn't be upset about, because it just shows how good we are at, you know, handling things, and how good we've, you know, because if we were in that same situation, that same environment, the first time we did Tip of the Hats,
Tip of the Hats was over.
It wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And like we're doing a good job.
Yeah, and speaking of that, there's plans going on. Like Lang's, you know, people don't. I gotta get Lang on here, but people don't realize how much Lang does. Like Lang's already setting up some stuff
I'm his roommate. I don't understand how Lang. I don't think Lang is human.
Yeah,
he is a absolute fucking unit. It's insane. I don't know how he does it. He is such an amazing. It's crazy.
He's the hardest worker I know, for sure.
Absolutely. And like the thing about it is that like when he's working on stuff, he's actually like there are hard workers, and then there's Ling, who is like hardworking and efficient. He gets this stuff done, and it's crazy.
It's interesting because he's one of the few people that I know that can like do multiple things at once while also doing them really good.
Yeah,
I don't know anyone else that can do that. And I got to get him on the cast if he wants to, and of course more Tip of the Hats people, because you can absolutely come back on for a Tip of the Hats podcast.
Yeah.
And I would love to go into more detail on Toth, but you know what? I want to touch on a few more things in regards to you and your content, and we've mentioned it a little bit before, but I want to talk about YouTube again, and how it affects your overall stream. Do you think YouTube has helped your stream? And if so, how? Yeah.
I don't know. YouTube, I'm sure you know, YouTube sucks. Like, It's so I don't. This is a tough question because I don't want to sound so. I don't want to sound overly negative, but YouTube is definitely like the thing that gets me down in the dumps the most in terms of like content creation and video creation because like we're doing these streams every day. We're dealing with hundreds of people, and we gotta interact with these people, and it's socially exhausting. And then after you're done with the stream, you have like a 4 hour, you have a 4 hour video file in your hard drive, and you got to sort through it, and you got to like pick out the good parts and put it in a highlight video and put it up on YouTube. And then the next day you have to stream again, and you have to edit all that stuff together while doing, all of the adult stuff. And once again, people don't understand how stressful that can be and how hard it can be. And when you put it on YouTube and you look at the, all the numbers game, and it's like, oh yeah, I spent, literally, like 39 hours on this video on top of, streaming every day and all this stuff. And I got $5 from it. It's like,
it is amazing. Like
you got to take a deep breath. And
with that said, I do personally think that helps your stream numbers. And of course, subscribers, when you get more numbers, generally you get more subscribers. And that's actually, I'm assuming that's your main revenue source, like Twitch.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, it's important. But at the same time, work is work. But have you ever thought of making like different types of content? Because, everyone loved the tag pancakes video. And like, if you pooped out one of those videos like once a month, I think people would love it. And you know what? You might find a new path as well.
Yeah, so I have a bunch of video projects in mind that I'd love to do. I'd love to do because I really like video games. It's just like I've just come to accept it. Like, it's one of the things I can talk about. I could talk for days about video games, and I obviously I want to do like a little thing where I talk about my favorite games or anything like that, sort of like a review thing. But once again, in order to do one of those videos, you have to get all the footage. You have to like play through the game again to get the footage. Like you could go and rip it from someone else, but that's a moral dilemma, and I don't feel comfortable doing that. And the time it would take to get all the footage together, and also like I still have these highlight videos that I need to put together. It's tough. It's really tough to find the time to do it. I do plan on doing it, but it would probably be around when I am finally getting enough, income to hire an editor for my highlight videos, and then I can focus on, I don't know why, but the only thing I can think of is describing this as designer videos.
Well, like I totally get you, because I feel you know what, I don't want to name drop, but there's a mutual friend we have that used to make gameplay videos that got like really good viewership, and then he's made like other like very highly produced stuff that's excellent, doesn't get as many viewers, and that stuff's probably very demoralizing and stressful, because like he knows that content that's getting less viewers is way better than just loading up OBS and just recording a gameplay commentary or whatever. You just don't get rewarded as hard. But I think nowadays you can. Back in the day, YouTube algorithm was like let's plays, but now it's more good content, I feel.
I mean, I feel the same way. I feel like a lot of the highlight videos that and a lot of content that I'm making is leagues better than the TF2 videos that I made literally 7 years ago. But then I look at the YouTube numbers games, and it's like, oh yeah, this video that you made 7 years ago of like people thinking you're hacking TF2 is still doing better than this like video that you literally put 39 hours into. And it's very demoralizing, and that's why I said like YouTube is the thing that bums me out the most. But I know its importance, and I'm treating YouTube now more as a repository for like, is that, I don't know if that was the right word. We're gonna skip past that.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I got it mixed up with suppository.
Can someone create a quick Google search?
Yeah, can somebody look that up for us, please? you know, I feel I'm once again I had to get back in that mindset where like I started YouTube to keep it as an archive for the funny things that I wanted to relive, the things that I would be like, I wish, like, you won't believe me if I tell you this, you have to see it. And now I treat YouTube like that, and I'm having more fun with it. And like it always like rears its ugly head where you're proud of something that you made, and then you look at the numbers game. It's like, like I put my heart and soul into this, and it's got like, but yeah, it's just something you gotta. It's ups and downs,
That's exactly how I feel, but I don't have the perseverance that you have. Like I made a couple gameplay stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do food reviews, and the last one came out like 6 months ago. So anyway,
but I had my recent Butts McCraven video. I worked on that. I've been trying to. It's a hot mess. I did those streams 3 years ago. There's still like 148 hours of footage that I need to go through. And the hardest thing about it is that it's the Elder Scrolls streams, so most of it is like dead air. So I have to like piece together a narrative myself in order to piece together all these clips, and that takes a really long time. Have
you ever thought about doing what Donkey does? I don't know if you watch his videos.
I do, yeah.
I'm a big fan of his, and he kind of, with his videos, he kind of does voiceover with actual commentary, like mixed.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like that's hard to do. Like he has, a wide range of silly voices and stuff that work great for him. But I think that's a different avenue. And I think that's kind of how he took his content. And I think that's maybe why he's able to produce like one video a week. Because, I cannot stress, I'm sure some of you guys listening, some of you guys in chat right now have done it before, but going through a stream VOD and cutting it up, it takes forever. Yeah. And most of the time it's very recent, and it's like, man, I literally just said all this.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like,
my brain, I want to think about something new, but this is what I have to do right now.
Yeah. It is so mentally draining. It is so mentally draining. You're literally going back through 4 hours of what you just did. And you have to like watch it, because like if you miss something, it's gone forever. And then also like you're going through and second guessing yourself the entire time, because you're looking at yourself, and it's like, was that funny? I don't know. Whereas if you have a third person perspective on it, somebody is like, oh, that was the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. But then since you did it, you're just like, oh, I think I was faking this. Did I overreact?
Do you think you've gotten better over the years, or is it still just like a trudge?
I've definitely gotten better at it.
Okay.
I've my video output, like the time it's taken me to put out a video has definitely gone down. Starting last year. A part of it is because I've gotten my community help me a little bit. I put together a spreadsheet where people can go through the VODs.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they can highlight moments where they laughed or they thought they were cool. And then I go through the spreadsheet and I put in the time. Like I go through the thing. I put in the timestamps. That still takes forever, by the way. Like it makes it easier. Like I know exactly where a clip is, but sometimes people can miss clips, or sometimes it's something that you don't really think it was funny. And then also just going through a 4-hour VOD and stopping at this point, cutting it, and then putting in a clip bin, and then going to the next part, cutting it out, putting a clip bin, cutting it out, putting a clip in, and then you have to put them all together like a big old jigsaw puzzle. Still takes a ton of time. It's
but at the end of the day, what you get is good content that is for people that can't catch your streams, and also
yes, exactly,
very much like I really liked it. Like we were watching probably one of the most chill part of Tip of the Hats last year was sitting in the studio, knocked down with a TV behind us, watching tag videos. It's like, this is great. Like you like get all these great highlights together, and like we only watched like 10 videos. Like you have hundreds.
Oh yeah. So yeah. I put out 16 hours of footage last year. Just on my YouTube
at the end
channel.
Of the day.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. I don't know if you have anything else to talk about, but we've reached about the hour mark here. Is there any shout outs you want? Any topics you want to hit on before we head out here?
I'm bad at shout outs. God. Oh wait, I can do this. And I'm gonna press the button here. and I'm not sure what the button. I think it's this one, and we're gonna say the magic word.
Say the magic word.
Twitch Prime. Subscribe with Twitch Prime.
We're streaming on my stream right now.
I know.
Are you shouting out? Oh, thank you.
Prime. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Just
Well,
say the
by
magic
the way,
word.
before we go,
There we
I want to
go.
shout out Tag for being here. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming to my my cast. This is like the beginning of something that I'm trying to, branch out onto. We've kind of discussed how you have to take risks and move in different directions. And I'm very happy that you're here. Lots of insight for me and hopefully for you guys as well. So yeah, check out Tag, Twitch TV /thatguyTagg.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. We'll see you later.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.